The real estate market is changing. How does that affect appraisals? Hello there, this is Slot Flinsky Homes. I am here with the premier real estate appraiser, Randy Barcella, who is also the radio show, talk show host for Real Estate Revealed on AM 560. Randy has, what'd you say, about 30 years of experience?
37 years in the real estate business.
Years. So I figured we're in good hands to get some great information from Randy over here. Because with this changing market, my goal is to provide information to you, the viewer, the listener, so that you are well educated in what's going on so that you can make the best decision for you and your life. So Randy, I know when about a year ago, when the market was accelerating, I never had an issue or a challenge, but I've heard other realtors talking about they were having a hard time with appraisals at the beginning.
A year ago, 2 years ago, they had this booming market where there was 5 to 10 multiple offers on a property. So let's say it was listed for $399,000, it was selling for $440 because of the multiple offers. However, if there hasn't been a sale above $440, appraisers were coming in on the appraisal at the highest last sale, which might have been $400. But that's not the right way to do it. I'm telling you, at least 60% or more, maybe more than that, of appraisers are not competent enough to make the proper adjustments. So if a house is on the market one day and it's sold in one day, the appraiser has to make a time adjustment. That's the first line on the back of the appraisal where the comparable sales grid sheet is. It says date of sale, days on the market, 1 day. So the appraiser has to make a 5 or 10 or 15% adjustment up, and a lot of appraisers don't know how to do that. You see, your house is not worth what the last house sold for, or it's not worth what the appraiser says it's worth. The value of your home is worth what the educated buyer and informed seller decide they want to make the deal, and the buyer knows what they're selling for, the seller knows what they're selling for, along with the aid of their real estate brokers. They come to agreement on a price. That's the value of the house, not the appraiser telling you what. So if the houses are flying off the market in one day, you can't lowball the sales price because the sales price is the value of the house. It's up to the appraiser to make a time adjustment because of 1 day on the market, or go to another competing area to hit that. Here's an example, but it's not 100% like that. Let's say your house listed for $399 and somebody came in and overbid everybody and now is paying $475. That is over everything. So you may not be able to get that. In which case, last year and the year before, there was a clause on the contract that if it didn't appraise out, you have to come up with the extra cash. So if that person's spending $75,000 over list price to buy your home, or $100,000, and they've got the cash to make up for the appraised value versus the actual contract.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense, and thank you for that information. So I have a question. Right now, the market is shifting a little bit. Homes are on the market longer than they were, and we're seeing price reductions. Not so much yet that the homes are losing value to a year ago. I feel many times homes are overpriced because they're going by the trends of the last year. And a year ago, you could list a home that needed a lot of updating and get away with it. The demand was so strong that those homes sold anyway. Now, those same homes, they have to be priced realistically. Now that the market is shifting and some prices are going down, we're seeing price reduction. What kind of effect is that going to have for future appraisals?
Well, real estate market, like stock market, like everything in the United States, even in the world, it's economics 101. The supply and demand goes up and it goes down, and the prices will adjust accordingly, and so will the interest rates. For 2 or 3 years, property values were just shooting through the roof in abnormal increase times. And so I don't see property values crashing a lot like they did after the crash of 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's just not going to be multiple offers anymore, and if the property, like I said, is listed for $399,000, you may sell it for $370. So I don't see a big crash in property values. I think things are starting to stable out and get back to normal, because anywhere from 6.5% to 7% interest rates was always a fabulous thing, and that 3% 2.5 years during COVID was simply a fluke, and it was a short-lived period of time, and that's not normal.
No, that was a dream come true. And historically, 7% is a decent interest rate. And you look at what people are paying for credit card interest, car loans, and so forth. My first house was, I believe, 12.5%. And what we did, we bought the house, we needed the house, we had a lot of great memories, and as soon as the interest rate came down, we refinanced.
Yeah, I can't believe people are complaining about buying a home, a really huge price of a purchase, and complaining about 7% when you pay everything with your credit card every day, and it's 30% or 29% or 33%.
Right, exactly. Now, with that being said, we're home buyers that were at that entry level, and maybe it's not affordable to them anymore. And so you want to take a look at what your comfort level is on your monthly payment.
Let's say you're thinking that 3.5% was normal from a couple of years ago. It's not. It wasn't. And you were able to afford a $400,000 house at 3.5%. Now, if the rates are 7%, you probably have to look at a house that's $300,000 instead of $400,000 or $325,000, which is still okay. There's houses at that price point in the neighborhoods you want to move into. So why not? You could still purchase. You still have the credit to be approved. You just may have to settle now for a little less of a home than you really want to, but it's okay. Interest rates are going to come down like they always do. Buy the house now, because in 5 years it's going to be worth more than you bought it now, so don't wait for the rates to come down. In a couple of years, or maybe less than a couple of years, rates will go back down to maybe 5 or 4, refinance. But you still got the house you wanted to be in.
Absolutely.
In the neighborhood you wanted to be in.
In the time being, you're building equity. You have a tax deduction with some of the interest and real estate taxes. And what I saw, an article recently, is that the average rental price nationwide just in September went up by 7.5%. And that is going into somebody else's pocket completely.
Right. I remember when things were booming last time like this, it was 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then it went crashing. So when the market crashed, 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, the rental market went skyrocketing. We had a gentleman call us on the radio show and says, look, I'm getting kicked out of my rental place. It's $2,500 a month. I'm retired on a fixed income. And a year ago, or a year and a half ago, my rental was $1,500 a month, which he can afford. So we helped him get out of there. And a funny story, but it's realistic. As the rates went up, and the rental rates are still going up. They didn't just go up 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12. They're going up now. Yes. Still. The rental market is strong. However, if you're with a great realtor like Slav, he could show you how you can purchase a home for less money than you can rent. Because we asked this gentleman when he called in on the radio show, and he was almost in tears. He was getting kicked out. We said, why don't you buy? Maybe you can get a first-time home buyer loan with some grant money. The state of Illinois was giving away $7,500. He goes, Randy, I can't be a first-time home buyer. I'm not in my 20s. And I said, well, did you ever own a home? No. Well, you're a first-time home buyer. It doesn't matter if you're 25, 55, or 75. So we got him in a home, back down to $1,500 a month mortgage instead of getting out of the rent for $2,500. So you really want to talk to Slav, because there's ways he could find you a home to own for less money than rental.
Yeah, great. And I'm always surprised how many people aren't aware of all the programs out there, even now, just to bring down the interest rates temporarily until rates do come down. Randy, I have a question. So when we were in that booming market, multiple offers, FHA and VA loans by the sellers were kind of pushed aside, so we didn't see too many sales with those types of loans. Now we're starting to see them come back. What is the difference in the process of appraising a home on a conventional mortgage and one with the FHA?
There's no difference at all. FHA, VA, and conventional mortgages are all appraisals. FHA, VA, and conventional appraisals are done on the same form. It's a form called 10004. It's a residential appraisal form, and it's two-sided. The front side of the page tells about subject and the neighborhood. The second page of the 1004 appraisal form has 3 comparable sales to compare to your subject home and develops a value. So there's no difference on the appraised value. However, FHA was always popular no matter what the economy was like, because you could get in with 3.5% down, and they'll take a lower credit score, possibly 585. I think credit scores are typically from 500 to 900. And if you've got a 750 or 800 credit score, you could golden, you could buy anything you want. But a lot of people have trouble, have bumps in the road, and it's normal in life. Like, let's say you were unemployed for a couple years versus, in the COVID days, maybe you had a 700 credit score that is now 570 or 550. It's possible, realistically, to get that credit score back up, but guess what? A lot of conventional lenders said, we need 670 or 650 or 640 on a credit score to get in. But FHA, and I think it's VA too, if you have a 585 credit score, I've heard as low as 580, you can buy and 3.5% down, because FHA came on with these insured mortgages, I don't know, maybe 60 years ago, to help the average person get into home ownership. Mm-hmm. And so it's great plans, FHA at 3.5% down. And if you're a vet, no money down.
Yeah, I mean that's a beautiful thing for the veterans out there. You could come in with 0% down, and many times we can ask the seller to provide a closing credit to help with all of the extra costs in closing. So, Randy, a question I'm always surprised. So, talking to other realtors, how many other realtors don't show up on appraisal day to meet the appraiser? I felt it was just made sense. I'd like to provide as much information to appraisers like you to help make your job easier, because the hardest part of the job, or the lengthiest, are the reports. So I always include things like the contract, a survey if we have it. I'll put my comparables in there. Sometimes appraisals will use them, sometimes not. But I'll also include a list of updates and upgrades. So especially if the appraisal might be tight, the appraiser could look at to see, okay, they've put so much money into it over the last
Slav is
few
a
years.
dream realtor. I wish I had him on all my appraisals. Here's the deal. Slav knows Downers Grove like the back of his hand. I'm not appraising in Downers Grove, but maybe 4 times a year. And other suburban places too. The realtor has been working that area longer than the appraisers. So what I think is phenomenal, and I love this, and it's total ideal situation for me. If I show up at an appraisal and the appraiser, the realtor meets me there, or doesn't have to meet me, leave this information on the kitchen table. Copy the plat of survey. You know why? The plat of survey has the legal description and the lot size and the dimensions of the outside of the house. All these things I have to put on the appraisal, and that's helping me. And if he gives me a list of sales that I haven't seen, because he did a more thorough research than me, now I have more information to develop my value conclusion on the appraisal. So copy the plat of survey, that's fantastic. Give me listings, current listings, not 200,000-300,000 over your price, similar houses, right?
Right.
And closings in the neighborhood. And also give me a detailed list of all the improvements you've done to the house, because the appraiser has never lived there and doesn't know what you've done to the house in the last 5 years. So that's all really valuable information. There's been appraisers since the crash. I mean, the Dodd-Frank bill came into effect, I think it was 2010 till now, where it says appraisers are forbidden to talk value with the loan officers. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. But some appraisers are so off the charts, not realistic of what's going on in the business, in this industry anymore. There's been realtors that tell me, Randy, I show up and I give the appraiser all these things, and the appraiser says, no, don't. You've got the plague. I cannot take anything from you at all, because, and I'm like, oh, okay. Go back to continuing education, appraiser. It is really important that we take all the information we can from the county records, from the MLS, from the listing agent, from the selling agent, because it makes our job easier. They're not steering us on value, and we know what we're doing anyways as appraisers, and so the more information we can get as appraisers, the better to make this process smoothly and more accurately.
That makes total sense to me. And I'll give you an example. I met an appraiser out at a home, and when we look up comparables, we try to stay within major boundaries, right? Busy streets and so forth. The one thing about this neighborhood was that the elementary school, which was highly ranked, also extended on the other side of that busy street.
And that's okay.
Which the appraiser didn't know. And so when
tell
I showed him the comparables,
Right.
I explained why
Yes.
I chose them, and he took note of that.
Good.
So I have a question for homes, as far as with home sellers. What can they do to prepare for you to show up to their home to appraise?
Well, when they have a realtor like Slav already knows what to do, so they don't have to do anything. But let's say it's a refinance. I call you and I say, hey, Randy Barcella, I'm your appraiser. I'm going to come out and do the inspection on your house. It's not going to take that long, maybe 25 minutes. I walk through your house. I take pictures of all the rooms, bedrooms, bathrooms, first floor, second floor, basement, measure your home. And we don't move everything like home inspectors take 2 or 3 hours and they're going through everything. We just basically walk through your home, all the levels, and make sure it's safe, sound, and sanitary, and it's in livable condition, at least average. And that's about it. However, like what I just told Slav, what you can do as a realtor to help out, you do that. You have a copy of your old platted survey that's in your legal manila colored tan envelope and with all the closing papers. At the end of there's a legal sized piece of paper that has your platted survey. Have the platted survey out for me. Have your tax PIN number. Sometimes people have 2 lots and there's 2 tax PIN numbers, property identification numbers, because I have to put the tax ID numbers on there. And especially if you're in a condo, you may have a different PIN number, tax ID number than you do for the house. And so that's important. And also have for me what your taxes. You have your tax bill. Show me what the taxes are for the both lots, or just your home and the lot that it's on, or maybe there's a separate tax bill for the garage, whatnot. Have that information for me too. And then also have a list for me of all the things that you've done on improvements. And a lot of homeowners won't do that because they're afraid that I'm going to submit the information to the county and the county's going to come back and tax you more. The appraiser has nothing to do with the county, and we don't submit the appraiser. So if you put $50,000 in the backyard and $80,000 in a finished basement, tell me that, because that's going to increase the value of your home. And then also too, a lot of people have pets, and I like pets and I like dogs, but I've been bit before. And here's the deal: you have an appraiser coming in your house. Maybe the appraiser has a mask on. I also have a camera. I also have a clipboard. I also have a laser measuring device that I'm measuring around. And so this may scare your pet. You just don't want that, any risk at all. So take your dog for a walk down the street, maybe one of the kids, or put it in a cage. Some people have cages that when they leave for work. Or let your dog go in the backyard. So that's important too for safety. That's
great
general
information. The one thing about pets is, as friendly as the dog is, as small as it is protecting its domain.
Yes.
And it does get a little nervous. When I was a UPS delivery driver, famous words I heard from clients just before they bit me.
They don't bite.
My dog never bites. So, but they don't know.
I got scars from last summer. I have 5 bites from last summer. I walked in. Oh my gosh.
Well, Randy, I appreciate your time today. There's a lot of great information, and I really appreciate that we coordinated our blue today, so we look like twins.
So get out to the website, realestatereveal.net. He's a radio star now on my show, and so his business is getting even better. His reputation has gotten better. I'm so proud to have him. He's such a wonderful man, full of integrity, hardworking, just really a great human being. And if you're going to sell or buy, you want to have Slav on your team. And to read more about him, the website for the radio show is realestaterevealed.com. R-E-V as in Victor, E-A-L-E-D.com. Thank you, Slav.
Yeah, thank you. And one last thing. So sometimes when there's a conflict of opinion on pricing between the realtor and the homeowner, sometimes it's recommended to bring in an outside appraiser to take a look at the value of the home. Have you ever done that? And
Realtors call me all the time, especially when there's changing times over the last 20 years.
How can people best contact you?
708-870-9400. That's my cell. Text or call 708-870-9400. Or Randy Barcella, that's my name, Randy Barcella at AOL.com, Barcella at AOL.com. But a lot of people over the last few years now, they said, hey, Randy, do an appraisal on my house. I've got 4 realtors coming in and giving me a line of whatever. And I'm confused. One realtor said my house is worth $350. The next one says it's $400. The next one says it's $450. I'm all excited. But, if you go with the highest listing agent price and it doesn't sell in 30 days, you're going to drop the price anyways. And they know you're going to do that. And they just want to get their foot in the door. So a lot of times, two things. Get a home inspection done first. So when your potential buyers are coming in, they know that there's nothing wrong with your house, or if there was some cracks in the foundation that were slightly seepage, that you have it fixed, so they have peace of mind. And then secondly, get an appraisal done of your home, so when they walk through and do the viewing of your home, you have an appraisal to prove the value. Exactly. But not only that, let's say one realtor says $350, one says $400, one says it's $450. I may say it's $475. Or I may say it's $400, but here's the deal. You have peace of mind of knowing what it's worth.
Right.
So no matter what I appraise it at, you can now choose the realtor of your choice that you're comfortable with. Don't ever choose a realtor because they got the highest list price for you. You want somebody with integrity who's going to market it correctly to get the house sold for the highest price. And so when I give you an appraised value, I would suggest tell your listing agent to increase that value even another 5%, because you just don't know, with the shortage of houses on the market, you may have a stronger demand. So, get an appraisal done.
Yeah, thank you. And yes, even with the shifting market, we still have a shortage of available homes. Now, Randy, you've been an appraiser for 37 years. You've been a talk show host, very successful one, for 15 years. Obviously, you have success around you. Looking back, what do you think is the foundation to your success that you've been experiencing?
Easy. Just do the right thing in life, everybody. You have to have good morals, good values, good integrity, and don't ever give up. The train in my life left years ago, and now it's already up here. But guess what? There's no straight line to success.
Right.
It was up and down and up and down. Do you know how many times I failed? Do you know how many bad times and bad months and bad years I had? Here's the deal. You got to get up. Just dust. You got to move forward. Be persistent. And also, too, you got to hang around with winners. And winners has nothing to do with how much money do you make at all. You want to eliminate all the negative people from your life and surround yourself with the conditions you want to produce in life. A lot of people take a train or they take a bus trip somewhere and there's 50 people on the bus. And they come back from the trip and everybody saw the same thing. Yet there's 50 people wrote 50 different things because they saw things differently in life. And so what you want to do is eliminate all the negativity in your life and try to read something every day that interests you in your line of work or your passion in life, and surround yourself with the people who have already succeeded in that. But I can't tell you this enough. Do the right thing in life. And the Navy SEALs have always said this. What you want to do every day is do the right thing, and then again. You just want to have great morals, values, and integrity, and you're going to, and Steve Harvey also said too, you got to jump. You're not going to get anywhere in life if you live 75 years the same way. Go to work, come home, do your weekend thing, okay? If you want to succeed in life or achieve happiness in life, you're going to have to jump. And you know what? You're going to hit the side of the canyon going down a few times. Eventually your parachute will open. Just have the courage to move forward, and I can't say enough. Be honest. Do the right thing in life. Have good morals, values, and integrity, and never give up. You just can't ever give up, because you never know how close you really are to the success and happiness you really want in life.
Wonderful advice. And I always look at it this way. Whenever you have a setback in life, and everybody does, right, you could either look at it as failure or feedback. If you look at it as feedback, you just looked at what you tried, what didn't work, and now you have a foundation to figure out another way of making it work.
And you know what? Your setbacks in life were simply a setup for favors to come.
Perfect.
And you know what? Leave the past the past. I don't care how bad or miserable your past was. When you're in a car, there's a little rear view mirror in front of you, but in front of that rear view mirror is a big windshield with all these great opportunities in front of you. Mm-hmm. So keep moving forward. Forget the past. If you're living in the past, you're full of worry. And if you think about too much about the future, you're full of anxiety. Just stay here right now where you're at in the moment.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, Randy. Great talking with you. It was just what a wonderful conversation.
The great Slav Polinsky. Thank you for having me on your videos.
My pleasure. So this is Slav Polinsky Homes with Randy Barcella, appraiser and host of realestatereveal.com. You may